Guanxi, whereas nearly three-fifths are cases of what villagers declared to be 人情, which is a relationship of mutual support and advantage based on sincere respect and liking. So there's an example. The villager, for example, a villager's son. Because I came down to, I brought this 人情 Guanxi as concept because Maybe Young has had a big book of favor, banquet gifts and favor about Chinese arts of Chinese relationships. So, and I asked the villagers, what do you think about Guanxi? And they said, well, we don't have a Guanxi, we have a Guanxi, I can reach already. But I asked, well, so you must have something involved in your life because this is so Chinese. Why can't you have something to do with Guanxi? And then they gave me examples. Say, okay, my son got serious illness and needs to operation 10,000 yuan. How can I get 10,000 yuan out from now? And then I have a family networks. They don't use networks. I borrow money from this, from that, and draw the map. So within 3 days, they got amount of money. And then they also wrapped some red envelopes for some amount of money. So this money is to give doctor and nurse for better treatment of their son. So he actually divided 2 different kinds of ways of mobilizing resources or exchanging things with others. One is Guanxi is for specific ways to give the doctor and nurse, and that is Guanxi. Or if they want to buy a cheaper material to build a house, so that is Guanxi. And then for the other things, like how can I get such money? Because if you want to borrow money from the bank, you only get 2,000 yuan per household. You have to fill out a lot of forms, ask people to do. So there are different ways to get money, but the easiest way is to get money through their own personal household based networks. So, to use the sociological term, Guanxi stands for instrumental form of exchange, and 人情 is an expressive form of exchange, or anthropological would be expressive for reciprocity or instrumental reciprocity. Mean the same thing. My informants regards Guanxi as slightly immoral. So I began to formulate a model of ego-centered network within which, from birth to death, a Chinese individual is created and has created for him or her own personal space and identity. I call this is Li Xiangqun line, a Chinese model of reciprocity and social networks. So this, the perspective of the model is the world away from the top-down political and economical concerns expressed in current rating about Chinese model. But has much to say about how China has achieved her own economic miracles. Now, what is the Li Xiangqun line? It is the framework for Chinese model of reciprocity and social networks, as I said earlier. The problem for the translation, because the Li Xiangqun line is formed by 4 characters, 3 groups. Li is, say, Confucius with ethic, code, ritual, or proprieties, courtesies, equity. Shang is like upholds. So I use Li Shang put together to say mean some principle, holds the principle based on Li, which has different meanings. And one line, line 1, they are interchangeable. It's like a common goal, reciprocity. And the Li Xiangqun line, from dictionary, you can get, well, the word originally comes from Confucius' book, Li Ji. And the phrase is deeply rooted in Chinese culture. And actually, I was given these words, 里上往来, by villagers and village counters, local officials. They use these words because they don't think guanxi is properly represent their activities. And the dictionary, you can see courtesy, demands, reciprocity, and I was giving one of these leaflets, which use one of the dictionary from here, to say what is the 礼尚往来. But the 礼尚往来, I put a hyphen in between, join these two, the whole words together, gave this kind of conceptualization. And the name called 礼尚往来 is my explanation of connectivity between individuals, highly personal criteria, and the nature of his or her personalized, often non-verbal social behavior. And how many meanings 礼尚往来 covers? So there's the reason the 礼尚往来 is so difficult to translate into English because they actually covered 12 different English words. So here is the book. That is a Chinese version, simplified Chinese characters. And this set is traditional Chinese characters. And this is the English version, published last year and this year. So the 礼尚往来 framework. So you can see 往来 is like a social contact or transaction. So it is including 4 different types, like general 往来, expressive 往来, instrumental 往来, and negative 往来. So from the early example, we can see the expressive 往来 is like a 人情, and instrumental 往来 is more like a 关系. And they also have generals, meaning giving more, taking less. Also have negative. For example, negative is like when someone get rich and get concubine or family divorced, or brothers, they do business, they can't settle properly and have hostile relationships as well. So all these two ends, it is actually, generals is take about just under 9%, and the negative reciprocity or negative 往来 is about 10%, and the instrumental 往来 is about 20%, 60% it is expressive 往来. So if people initially say, well, a lot of people come to me and say Chinese is like a particularistic society, like what Parson says, to contrast with the West, the universalistic society. But and also say Chinese just guanxi society. But once the empirical data come out naturally to show to say if we take in China as an elephant, so the trunk would be general 往来, and the tail would be a negative 往来, and the legs can be instrumental 往来, and the whole body is expressive 往来. So I checked with villagers, they thought this is more or less about to describe their relationship. And not only villagers, I would say more later about what you see about Chinese society. Now, 礼尚, we mentioned about, when they work, 通情达理, morality, human feelings, rational calculation, and spiritual beliefs, they all work together at the same time, sometimes weighted differently. Now, the connections between 礼尚往来 and what Westerners are now calling the China model. Richard comments, the author of the party,